Hey YouTube, Rico Knows here. Full disclosure, I already recorded this video, but unfortunately, I did not hit record. So I did everything and never posted it. So here we are. Now we hit record. We're ready to do it. If you aren't aware, I am doing one hidden gem on every single team in America for the 2024 college football season. All you need to do, if you want to see all the other hidden gems, is go to YouTube, go to the homepage, Rico Knows, click on playlist, find the Rico Knows Hidden Gems playlist, and you'll see all the other hidden gems. But in this particular video, I'm going to talk about Arizona State. And when I look at Arizona State, there are some things I wanted to point out. Number one, I could point out some of these wide receivers underutilized, and maybe they're the hidden gem. But I'm not doing that in this video. I don't like most of the offensive line to be a hidden gem. I'm not going there. Linebacker room. Huge players that I would love to talk about. Guys like Zyrus coming over from San Diego State, Kashawn Elliott coming over from New Mexico State. Two linebackers I talked about ad nauseum last season, to the MVPs, all over the channels. Believe me, I think they're great linebackers. By the way, Jordan Crook, sneaky good transfer coming in from Arkansas. Really under the radar type dude. Shout out to Tap. All these guys I would love to talk about. But if we're gonna do a little flashy and we're gonna go there, I'm going to talk about the guy in the graphic below me and doing the Heisman, if you will. Shout out to Relique Brown. Okay, first and foremost, is he really a hidden gem? Well, casual fans probably don't know who Relique Brown is, and I would imagine all the Arizona State fans, the homers and everybody else, are extremely excited about Relique. So I'll get to like the nitty gritty of it all. He's listed as the 4th string running back. Okay, I don't care. That's a stud. That's a superstar. And I'm going to tell you how we got here. Cam Scattaboo, complete stud. FCS All-American, transferred in from Sacramento State last year. I made about 4 videos about him. Talked about his senior year in high school when he rushed for 2,600 yards in Northern California, and everybody ignored him. So he went the FCS route, dominated at Sacramento State, then transfers to Arizona State. And last year he proved he was great. Shout out to me. I identified him as being great in the Pac-12 before it actually happened. And shout out to Cam Scattaboo because he follows the channel. He reached out to me on TikTok and said, thanks for the video. Okay, cool. Then we got to Carlos Brooks. Shout out to his dad. He actually reaches out to me often in the DMs talking about his son and the potential he has. Former Cal running back, got injured last year. Hopefully he's healthy. That's your 2nd string running back. Then we have Alton McCaskill, another friend of the channel, talked to him at length many times. Alto, transfer from Houston, went to Colorado last year, and now he's here. So those are 3 really good running backs. And I'm here to talk about the 4th one, Relique Brown. I can remember the first time I saw Relique Brown. He plays at Mater Dei, or he played at Mater Dei in high school. Was a perennial power. We're talking about loaded teams. Obviously, Mater Dei, the greatest high school team in the country, year in and year out. Probably the top program over the last decade, or maybe even 2 decades. And you're looking at a Relique Brown who back then, he was single digits. I think he was number 4. And he was just so good. So I looked at him, I was like, oh, that's Reggie Bush 2.0. He's not at Helix, but he's Reggie Bush 2.0. That kid's amazing. He's so fast. And if I try to pull up his huddle tape, there he is, number 4. If I try to put up his huddle tape and show it to you guys, it doesn't work. All of these links will just give you an error. You click on them, you'll watch a commercial, and then it'll give you an error. Error to load, error to load. So nobody gets to watch these anymore, and they're phenomenal. But if you go to YouTube and you search, you'll find him. And here he is at the Rivals 5-star camp. And what you're going to see is a young man running routes. Obviously, there's no pads or anything. And in this first rep, you're going to see the defensive back manhandling him. Yes, he's only 5'8", 190 pounds or so. So he's getting manhandled. And I think this is the biggest scare from some college coaches, is like him and even Braylon Presley, the kid from Bixby. He's now at Tulsa. They moved these running backs, these phenomenal running backs, to slot receiver because they feel like they cannot handle the rigors of playing the running back position. But they are kind of slippery. They do have good routes. Watch this. He starts getting manhandled. Get your hands on him. You can shove him in the dirt. But what I see is a natural pass catcher, because if you've ever caught a pass over your shoulders as a receiver, it's extremely difficult. The peripheral vision, you lose sight of the ball as it goes over your head, especially with a helmet on. It's even more difficult. For those of you who've ever done it on Fridays and Saturdays, that was the most difficult catch to make. And whenever you see a receiver turn and jump and face his quarterback, that's the guy who can't make the overhead catch. So I know Relique Brown can make that catch. But you see him physically getting dominated. Don't worry about it. They're going to try to push him again. Same DB. Only this time, post corner, toast. Dust, not even in the picture. That man is a multi-cut runner, a multi-cut athlete. He can just make multiple cuts and go. And look at him hit the gas. You're not catching him. And he's not playing scrubs. He's playing in the Trinity League. The most dominant teams in America are in this conference, and he was the star. He is the star. Now, coming out of high school, initially he was committed to Oklahoma. But if he gets a step on you, good night. You're not catching up. There's no recovery speed out there. For the edge linebackers, outside linebackers, a safety, nobody's covering this kid. He's dynamite. I just want him to get the ball as a running back as well because I think he's so special. And Arizona State's finding that out. They're looking at him in spring, and they're like, man, we got to get this guy the ball in space. Kenny Dillingham's got to figure out a way to get this young man the ball. Now, I wanted to go back to his career and his path. Initially committed to Oklahoma. Going to Oklahoma, then Lincoln Riley gets hired at USC, so he flips to USC. And at this time, they might have called him the third best running back in the country and all this stuff. Doesn't matter. He gets to USC, and USC does what USC does, which means they keep recruiting more and more players at every position group. They eventually get running backs they believe in that are every down backs, seniority, bigger, stronger, faster guys. And when they do that, this pushes Relique Brown to the slot receiver position to go run routes, like we just saw him doing in those highlights. And Relique Brown reluctantly said, okay, I'll do that. I'll go play receiver. And after a good freshman year, though, and being utilized, you see him no longer being utilized last year. He fell on the depth chart. And a lot of that has to do with the emergence of Zachariah Branch. And Zachariah Branch is a special athlete. He's a 5-star athlete, and there's no denying there's levels to this shit, and he's great. NFL guy. So Zachariah Branch comes in and immediately starts taking reps, and it leaves Relique Brown on the outside looking in. And if you move me off the running back spot, it's a bad look. Now, I think Relique Brown brings value at kickoff returner, punt returner, receiver, running back on third down, whatever you want to do. But for him to commit to a crowded running back room at Arizona State, that just tells me, hey, man, you're going to stay close to home somewhat. And you're probably going to be utilized just the way Lincoln Riley was trying to utilize you, except there's no Zachariah Branch to push you to the bench. You're actually going to get used. So while our lads has the depth chart here, and they're showing you Relique Brown's fourth string, I think Relique Brown is on the field. I think he's getting 10 touches a game, however those happen. I think he's special. That's a talent you can't ignore. And hopefully he has a breakout season this year. So this is my hidden gem on Arizona State. And it's a shame I had to go this route because I know a lot of people would look at Relique Brown and go, Rico, that's not a hidden gem. We all know him. He's a known commodity. But the reality is when you look at this roster and where they have him on the depth chart, it's going to take some faith and some belief from the coaching staff to say, hey, we want to get the ball to Relique Brown. I think he's special. I hope he plays great. I think one day he's an NFL player. That's how good he is to me. Now, I understand the size concerns and the metrics and all that other stuff, but that's a playmaker. We need to find a way for his emergence. I'm ready for it. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Go check the playlist and find all the other hidden gems. Peace.